We are live.
Did you hear my tummy?
Yeah.
You heard that? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, an old.
No.
I have to.
No, go
I
on.
have to.
No, because I don't. Okay, fine.
We have a very interesting topic today.
Mm-hmm.
I think I have to say it. I feel like it's a staple for season 2 now.
Okay. Well, then, in that case,
Don't do it. Don't fucking say it.
you're lit. I'm lit.
We are. So for those of you who don't know, a little backstory. We used to use GarageBand, and you have to click both of the red nodes to signal that you are live.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to be like, all right, Gav, you're lit. I'm lit. And we are live.
Yeah.
So, yeah. He just likes to do it because it's like a, I don't know. It's like a.
It's a staple.
It's a staple. It's a staple. It's a staple. But I do like this because recently I have been like watching a lot of like old, comedy specials and things like that.
Yeah.
Especially with like Dave Chappelle and, rewatching the fluffy ones. But we're going to be going over our top five. Well, not top five, and they'll be in no particular order, but like our first top 5 comedians that we feel have the most impact on us or that we just like, that, whatever it is.
We should, you know what? Yes. We should do like top 5 worst comedians.
Oh, so down.
Top one through 5.
You already know my number 1.
Amy Schumer.
Maybe. All right. So, Gavin, you want to kick us off?
Yeah. So, to give a little backstory. So I think like everyone says comedy is subjective, right?
Yeah.
My whole thing is like, I think comedy is, but I also think that there's just people that do it better than other people.
I agree.
Like there's just people that like these like naturally just make others laugh.
Yes.
So I think going to start off my list, I would put to list like to order them like 1 through 5 to put at number 5, I'd have to put Ralphie May at number 5.
Rest his soul.
Dude was so funny.
He was hysterical.
So like
he would sweat so much.
He was holding up like 400 pounds.
He was like I not to cut you off, but it's just funny because this man was so funny, but he would just be like dripping
and sweat.
Dripping.
And it's funny too because he's married, has kids and all, or had kids and everything. And I was like, dude, like you're just so massive. But like but the thing was, he owned it. Like he was one of those people. You know what's funny is he's one of those people that like he like owned being big.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people nowadays are like, you be comfortable in your own body and blah blah blah. Yeah. He didn't give a damn about that. He was just like, I'm big. Screw you.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like this is what it is. So I thought that was pretty funny. Like he was just a funny guy. A lot of his go back and watch a lot of his specials. It's just like a combination of him just being like just telling not only just funny things, but just the most random stories like
all the time.
Like what
and they were always so funny.
Like he's going like when he was like, my favorite I think is when he was talking to his son at the wedding where he's like at a wedding.
Why did I not hear this story?
He was like it was like a bunch of like it was like a gay wedding I think, and he's like, what is that, Daddy? That son is a transvestite.
Oh God! He got away with so much too on his little plane here.
Yeah,
he got away with a lot of shit you cannot get away with anymore.
No. Well, I think comedy kind of back then, like, I mean, even look at somebody like Eddie Murphy. Like young Eddie Murphy comedy specials, like. They were pretty crazy, and a lot of the time, even Kevin Hart with a lot of the stuff he said.
Sure.
Dave Chappelle, and I think a lot of it too is just like kind of getting into the whole like new era Gen Z cancel culture thing. Yeah. It's funny too because I was on TikTok to kind of segue a little bit or to like veer off a little bit. So I was on TikTok, and it was like they're trying to cancel Eminem, and then all these people in the comments were like, "No, we're not. No, we're not." And I'm like, why do you all think you have so much power?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
He's the wrong person to cancel too.
Well, I know, but I'm just saying, like, it's just funny that's like they were all so serious. They were like, no, we're not. Like, what do you mean? And then I'm like, that's not, You know what I mean? And it's like it's just the culture right now is just. I think honestly, it's killing comedy. And
I would agree.
We only have a couple I'd say we only have a couple pillars left of comedy when you really think about it.
That's why I handed to Andrew Schultz and a lot of those guys because they'll stay in their lane in a lot of regards, but they'll just blast anyone.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I don't know who said it, but like maybe it was Dave Chappelle. It was like if you start apologizing to these guys for making a joke,
Never gonna stop.
Never gonna stop.
You're gonna be apologizing forever.
Yeah, literally.
I always think if you say something out of turn to somebody, like if you say something out of pocket, you should be able to be like, all right, I apologize, whatever. But then the act of even because somebody apologizes, it doesn't mean you have to accept it and everything, yada yada. But at the same time, it's like when you make a living off of making jokes, jokes always 99% of the time they're at the expense of something.
Yeah.
Whether it be a person, a place, a thing, a feeling, whatever. So I just think in that way, it's just kind of it's just kind of stupid when you think about it because it's like, well, Andrew Schultz is actually on my list as well at number 4, and I do put Andrew Schultz over Ralphie May. But I would say they're on my list are interchangeable.
Yeah.
I just think that Ralphie May for me is more like I look at him when I listen to his comedy more like an old school I'm gonna listen to some old school comedy.
Yeah, and you would turn him on.
Yeah. But Andrew Schultz is somebody that he's relevant now, and so I just think that I guess it kind of also depends on the day. It depends on the mood I'm in. But
sure.
I would put them at 4 and 5. And Andrew Schultz is funny.
He's so funny. He is my
I really enjoy listening to him.
Yeah, he's funny. He is funny as fuck.
Yeah. And then at number 3, I'm going to be putting Patrice O'Neal. Right now, Patrice, that's my dude right there.
He is funny. He's and he's still funny to where clips today made people laugh. And people will be like, who is that guy? I'm like, oh, it's Patrice O'Neal. They're like,
that was from 20 years ago. Or 10 years ago, 15 years ago. And it's still felt relevant.
Yes.
Relevant today. But yeah, so I think I'd put him at number 3. And then number 1 and 2, as everyone could probably guess, is the number 1 and 2. It's like the whole top 5 basketball players or football players. You're going to be putting Jordan and LeBron up there. You're going to be putting Brady and Manning. You're going to be, you know what I mean? So my number 1 and my number 2 are, I would say they're not interchangeable, but the gap between 1 and 2 and 2 and between 1, 2, and then 3, 4, 5 is immense.
Yeah.
So my 1 and 2, my number 2 is Kevin Hart. My number 1 is Dave Chappelle. It's not a secret, not a surprise. I don't think. They're just the two. I think some of the two to ever do it, the best ever to ever do it. I mean, you obviously, people are probably going to be like, you put Andrew Schultz or Patrice or Ralphie over Richard Pryor, Eddie Murphy, and that's, for me, it's more so a thing of for me, it's different than football or a sport or something because for example, I think when you're doing top 5 breakdowns, you can tell me how you feel about this. I think there should be a discrepancy between opinionated top 5, who you like as your your favorite players versus the best players overall.
I agree. Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes, it is.
You can say Richard Pryor might be the best comedian, stand-up comedian to ever do it, but in my opinion, I just like listening to Andrew Schultz better. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So it's it's the same kind of thing.
Plus, it is subjective. Some people will like Dave Chappelle.
Yeah.
Some people might prefer Eddie Murphy.
Yeah.
Or someone might prefer Richard Pryor, but someone, our age might be like, you know what? Andrew Schultz. Only Andrew Schultz. So, there is that subjective aspect to it. So, I see what you're saying, but yeah. I do. Then again, it does also bring the whole question: who is the best? Who is the G.O.A.T?
I think just purely on impact, I'd have to say Dave Chappelle. Well, I mean, it's the same thing. Yeah, it's the same thing of arguing. I would say it's up there. It's you can say with comedy, it's almost within reason, you can put almost anybody at number one spot like that, and then it would be right. You know what I mean? You could say Richard Pryor. You could say, you really could even make the argument for Kevin Hart if you really wanted to.
Yeah, no, you could.
You know, and you know, for me, it's just. I just think Dave, just his like the Dave Chappelle show, like was transcended like so many other things.
Too bad I had to.
Yeah. You know, and then like even when he like made his comeback and everybody thought he was gonna suck or whatever, it's like he's still Dave Chappelle and he's still like funny as ever in cancel culture. You know,
one of my best things he said recently was, "I'm fucking Dave Chappelle. I'm so funny. I can write jokes backwards." And then like he does like the whole skit where he's like. I put a bunch of punchlines in a jar, and I picked one out, and it was like, boom! I kicked you right in the ball, or I kicked you in your cunt.
Yeah,
that's what it was. I kicked her in her cunt, and he goes on, and he goes, oh, "I'm so funny, I can write it backwards, and I'll still make you laugh." He tells like the whole joke, and then he goes, boom! Oh no! The line is, "I kicked her in the pussy."
I know. Oh. I know what the line is.
Fuck!
You're just really butchering. You're really just.
I'm really just.
Yeah, we're gonna have to bleep out a whole bunch of that.
All right, here we go. But yeah, kicked her right in it, and I was like, comedy.
Yeah. That's for me. I think Dave Chappelle. He's just funny. Like he's just a funny guy.
He is funny. Yeah.
No matter what you, it's the same kind of thing. He kind of has that same kind of like Ralphie May was a funny dude but more so he was like, it was like his He used his weight and he used the way he talked and everything kind of to his advantage, whereas like Dave Chappelle is just and like Dave Chappelle does that obviously, but like he's more so just like roll into a room, start cracking jokes, and then you know what I mean. And it's the same kind of way with like Andrew Schultz, I think.
Yeah.
You know, but I mean I think if you're talking about like top fives and everything, we talk about a little bit of overrated comedian.
Who do you think?
A little overrated? Like for stand-up anyway?
Am I going to like this one?
I don't know. Stand-up wise, I think Joe Rogan's a little overrated.
Okay. I would agree with you. As much as I love and dick ride Joe Rogan, I have to agree with you because I tried to watch one of his stand-ups, and I was like, not as funny as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
Maybe at the time... I don't know if it's the JRE that ruined it for me,
right.
But like when I think of him, I think of like, oh, this dude on a podcast who does MMA, this MMA talk show, not a talk show host, like an interviewer, and now I'm just seeing him up there just cracking jokes. So
well, I think, like I said, like before when he was younger, like his older stuff is definitely good.
Oh yeah,
but not but it's not great.
Yeah,
and then I think, like in my opinion. He had like a special a couple years ago, the Netflix special. I don't remember what was it, 2018, something like that. Anyway, I didn't think it was that good. I think it looked like Joe Rogan from the Joe Rogan podcast talking to just more people, trying to recapture that like young Joe Rogan kind of style.
Yeah,
and I'm like, I just don't think it worked. I think Joe Rogan hit the gold mine with having that podcast.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
You know what I mean? And then like you really can't. It's hard to because like there's been some really funny episodes of that. You know what I mean?
Yes.
But like you really can't. Like you know who does it really well? Who does both really well? Is like Theo Von. He does them both really. He can do a podcast because he's the same person. Like he's just he has that like airhead funny.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And then
kind of smart though.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
yeah.
But he has that like he just looks dumb, but he's not.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And it's just funny because like you can listen to him on any podcast he goes on, and he's like just says the dumbest thing, like the randomest. You know, he'd be like, "Yeah, man, when I was 15, I was sniffing earlobes of dead people, man, and it's just what you did down there, man." And and then they're like, "What are you talking about?" And he's like, "Well." And then you listen to his stand up and it's the same thing. It's the
same thing.
You know?
So yeah, he is so funny.
Yeah. He does it well.
Yeah, he does. I love his podcast.
All right, so let's hear your top 5.
All right. Now it's pretty close to you. 2 of them are different. I try to cut it down. I'll go from 5.
Okay.
Actually, this is a great segue because 5 is Theovon.
Oh, okay.
I like. Because of how he is, like you go, that guy is he looks like a stupid hillbilly kind of, you know?
Yeah.
And you find out he has his own like opinions. He's kind of a smart guy.
Yeah.
And it's cool because listen to his podcast. You see his stand up.
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
And it's all funny. It's exactly that. He goes, I was sniffing the earlobes at the age of 15.
Mm-hmm.
Why? I was bored. Like, and he's funny. I think he's in a lot of respect that he should have gotten now. But he is just a funny dude.
Yeah.
4. This one's a little controversial.
Uh-oh.
No.
Oh, no.
No. Not controversial in a bad way, but he even says it too. 4 is Fluffy. Now, I love Fluffy. He is one of my favorite comedians. Obviously, he's in my top 5.
Right.
However, I don't think he gets the respect he deserves in a lot of regards, but a lot of comedians don't see him the same way that they see other comedians.
What do you mean?
So, this is something that he said. He is famous, you know, he's a big comedian, but he doesn't hang around in the same circles. Because they don't see him as a traditional comedic person. Like, his style of comedy is just a little different. Everyone was saying, I can't think of the actual talking points, but I just know they all give him the respect.
Right.
But there's such a big gap and discrepancy between like a Kevin Hart and then Fluffy.
Okay.
Yeah.
So kind of like he just doesn't like. Is you talking about like Kevin Hart and Dave Chappelle and all them would be like A-listers and he'd be kind of like a B-lister?
Borderlining C. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
3. You can't be surprised with this. Andrew Schultz. He is probably right now my favorite comedian.
Okay.
Hands down. He is just absolutely hysterical. And I still remember when he was like coming up, like he like Joe Rogan didn't really know who he was yet, or like, and this is when he was doing his let me introduce you to my friends.
Yeah.
My name is Fashion. And it was so funny because he was just that dude. Like, one of my favorite bits he does is the radiator.
Yeah.
The one fuck. I don't want to do it because I'm gonna fuck it up. But like he basically just talks about like what it's like living in New York and how you just don't ask a super any questions. You just kind of live. But he is just hysterical, absolutely hysterical. Number 2. This was hard, so I put both of them up there. I had Patrice O'Neal and Kevin Hart.
Okay.
Patrice, I think, is funny across the ages. The only thing, though, is I think Kevin Hart is still very relevant and funny because he is kind of the same person, kind of like Theovon. Yeah. Like, his stand-up is how he is in his movies and how he is in person. So I've heard.
So you went Theovon, Andrew Schultz.
No, Theovon, Fluffy, Andrew Schultz.
Andrew, okay.
I'm putting Kevin Hart and Patrice, like, because I couldn't decide where I wanted to put them.
So you're leaving Dave Chappelle off your top 5?
I'm not at number 1 yet, Doug.
That you just said number 2 and number 1.
No.
You just said
I'm putting them at 2. I'm putting them at 2.
Oh, okay.
I couldn't. That's something I couldn't decide.
Okay.
Come on.
Okay.
Brother, look.
Okay.
My brother in Christ.
Well, I'm just saying. There's nothing on the keyboard.
Number 1, as you would have expected.
Oh, wait. Before we get there, because we all know who it is. Why did you put Kevin Hart and?
Well, okay. So here's the thing, right? I think there's something to be said about my age, our time, and what we think is funny.
Right.
He is just very boisterous. He has that little misogynistic, suave thing. He is.
Misogynistic suave.
Yeah. But like, okay. But you know what I'm saying.
For what? Patrice?
Listen, I cheated on... No, for Kevin Hart.
Oh, Kevin, okay.
Listen, I cheated on my wife, guys. I cheated on my wife. I fucked up. I'm a man. I make mistakes. But Patrice is just... He is funny because I think coming from the time where he was to now, people still talk about him. You have two 23-year-olds just sitting here going, this guy was fucking funny.
Yeah.
Right? But my point being is, Kevin has movies out. He's very relevant. He's funny. He's consistently funny.
Yeah.
So I wanted to put Patrice up there, but I also wanted to put Kevin. I feel like he needed a spot up there. So that was why. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Okay. Number 1.
Dave Chappelle. You knew it was coming. I don't know why.
Yeah, that's how it happens.
But it's always funny because he was under so much attack from the LGBTQ.
You can't cancel Dave.
You can't. You legit cannot cancel him. He was in Detroit, right?
Yeah.
And like he was so high. Like he pissed off the own crowd. He was so high. It was with like the Wu-Tang Clan or like whoever.
Yeah.
And he bombed so hard. And he goes, "The good people of Detroit, you're not getting your fucking money back."
Yeah.
Oh,
you can't cancel him, dude.
Well, he has. So on his one special, he talked about his transgender friend, person.
Yeah.
When that came out, that group of people did not know what to think or do. It was absolutely
well, yeah, because they were like attacking him for being this like piece of shit, and then it's like he comes out, he's like, I'm actually not, guys. I'm actually a pretty good person. Well, I mean,
yeah,
I'm not that. But yeah, and then obviously honorable mentions would have to be like Eddie Murphy for me, and them. Speaking of Eddie Murphy, I actually just got Sky to watch. We'll try to get her to watch The Nutty Professor.
Oh, never seen it.
Oh well,
sorry.
Yeah, it's a great movie. It's funny. So like when I was younger, I used to watch it all the time. I was like a little kid, like 10 or yet less, and I would love this movie. And then watching it as an adult, it's like not really a kid's movie.
I feel that's a lot of things with different movies. Like you watch it now, you get all the innuendos or all the stuff. Yeah,
like because me and her always go like in The Nutty Professor. There's a scene where he's like Eddie Murphy's character's mom is like. She's like doing like the Hercules. Remember that? No,
wait, that's what that's from?
It's from The Nutty Professor.
I say that all the time.
Yeah. Hercules. Yeah, look at us. Look at my strong baby. Oh, little Hercules. Hercules.
Oh, I didn't know that. I gotta watch it now.
So, but yeah, it's like watching it back. It's like one of the biggest the whole point of the movie is Eddie Murphy plays a professor, and he's a big fat dude, and he's like fat, and he's trying to find love, and his love interest in the movie is Jada Pinkett Smith, and the whole point of the movie is he's trying to he falls in love with her, but he's getting made fun of. Dave Chappelle's also in that movie. Who's the comedian that it singles him out in a crowd at a comedy club, and is just like making him feel like shit. He's a chemist, so he formulates a plot. Like he formulates a serum to make himself lose weight, and then all of a sudden he becomes like normal Eddie Murphy, and he calls himself Buddy Love, and he's like. And like the first thing he does, he's like, I'm thin. And he like opens his pants and he's like, I can see my dick. And it's like I'm like watching this and I'm like,
dude, he is so funny.
I'm like, dude, there's so many things went over my head. Like, you know what I mean? As a kid, like so many things. And so I was trying to get her to watch that. And, but yeah, like that's just, Eddie Murphy, and Eddie Murphy plays like a bunch of people in the movie too.
Really?
Like it was like it's like the family scene, and he plays like almost everybody except for like the little kid in the.
Could you imagine being on his knees?
I wouldn't doubt it. I think he do that. It's like the movie, another comedy movie that I really love is White Chicks.
Oh yeah, that is hysterical.
Oh my god!
I remember when I first saw that, I was like, "What the fuck is going on?"
No, look. I'm a man. You're sick. I have something to tell you. What's up, baby? I'm actually a man. No, I'm a man. What? Why wouldn't you tell me that you're black? What?
I forgot.
You're black? What?
I'm black.
Yeah, he's like, oh. Dude, Terry Crews in that movie is hysterical. But yeah, so something else I wanted to highlight on was like comedy shows, like shows that do comedy. I think like really well, or like I can rewatch is like I would say Brooklyn Nine-Nine I really love some Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Just how stupid they all are.
I've had so much sex to Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Like, it is so funny because it's like that show is like everyone in that show is just it's like I guess like time and place humor.
Yeah.
Kind of a thing, but like but yeah, so that I really like that show. I really think they do it well. I think Parks and Rec, everyone puts Parks and Rec up there with like The Office and like
Yeah.
I think Parks and Rec is better than The Office.
People have
by
said
like
that. I never
pretty,
finished it.
Pretty wide margin.
Listen, man, I love great comebacks.
Well, Kim Kardashian? Well, I'm pretty sure she got some coming her back.
That's still. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to bring it up and cut you off, but
So, but yeah, those are some shows. But there's a lot of shows that try to do comedy.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of TV shows out there now. Like a lot of people think when they think comedy, they think like Family Guy or Big Mouth or Disenchantment or Rick and Morty or
Big
whatever.
Mouth was wild.
Big Mouth was dumb. I don't know why everyone loved and went crazy over Big Mouth.
Calm down.
It's just so stupid. I tried to watch it so many different times. The whole thing is Nick Kroll is just really it's an animated show where everybody is severely raunchy. That's it. It's not a good show. The plot lines aren't good. It's not really that funny. They're just like
the period monster.
Yeah, it's not funny.
Cool.
No, it's not that funny,
dude.
Oh,
you don't have one.
I'm the hormone monster. Like, I don't care, dude. Like, and then it's like I'm watching it, and it's the same. It's just Nick Kroll being as obnoxious as possible, and it's just not funny. And like I'm telling you, dude, I watched it when it first came out. I'm like, this is terrible. Everyone and their mom is like, this is the funniest thing.
I liked it when it first came out.
Rewatched it, like tried to rewatch it. I'm like, dude, this is just not. And then like Disenchantment came out or whatever, and I'm like watching that, not that funny. Kind of, it's more so. I feel like those are shows to put on for like in the background for like filler episodes.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like you just put them on and just kind of do whatever. Like you just kind of like if you're cleaning or vibing out. Like sometimes I'll just put TV on if I'm like scrolling TikTok.
Yeah,
like I'll put TV on if I'm going to bed. I'll put it on then, like something like that. But yeah, I don't think. I think there's a lot of shows that try to do comedy and they just kind of miss the mark. Like The Office got annoying.
What do you mean? Towards the end,
the whole show. When you watch The Office for the first time from episode 1 to the last episode, it's like, wow, that was a great show.
Yeah,
and it makes you want to rewatch it.
Yeah,
and then you rewatch it for a second time, and you're like, okay, yeah. So I missed some stuff.
Okay, that's okay. You're right. Yeah,
and then you watch it for the third time, and then you're like, Pam is a piece of shit,
dude. She is.
And then it's
thank you. I was saying that in the beginning.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And then it's like Jim sucks. No one's really that like you know what I'm saying. Like wow, they treat all these people terribly. And then it's like the whole Michael Scott dumb funny thing kind of goes away. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you're like, and the whole thing is like I think the American version did a way better job than the British version.
I learned there was a British version like 5 months ago.
Well, but yeah, there's a British version.
Yeah.
With Ricky Gervais. That's why in the one episode where he meets Ricky Gervais in the elevator, and it's like because he's the Michael Scott of the English version.
Oh, so genuinely, I had no clue.
Yeah.
But I saw a TikTok.
Yeah. And
it goes, listen. Or it was not only did we beat you in the war, we had a better version than you, or whatever it was. I was like, "There's a UK version." Yeah.
Yeah, it came out like before The Office did, like the American version of The Office.
I don't know. I like The Office. I thought The Office was pretty cool.
Like I said, it was cool the first 2 times you watch it.
Yeah.
And then you rewatch it, and you're like, "This sucks."
Well.
Because a lot of the plot lines were boring.
I tried to watch it the first time, and I turned it off after like the first or the second episode. I'm like, I don't understand what this is trying to do.
Yeah.
Because to me it wasn't funny, but I didn't understand the premise what they were trying to do.
Yeah.
They're trying to do like an office atmosphere and like try to crack you up, and it's supposed to be cringy.
Yeah.
I didn't understand that. I'm like, this is stupid. I'm cringing the whole time.
Yeah.
This is not funny. And then I forget who I was with at the time, but she was like, That's the point.
Yeah.
It's literally the whole point.
It is the whole point of the show.
Yeah.
But it's more so like I just think that like they ran out of steam. Like right when Steve Carell left, I think they ran out a lot of steam.
Oh yeah.
And then they were like trying to, but they James Spader did have I think the cleanest like most memorable line in the movie. It's like they're trying to prank call him or whatever. He's like, "You don't know me." He's like, "You don't even know my real." He's like, "I'm not going to be talked down to by some some inferior debutante. You don't even know my real name. I'm the bleeping Lizard King."
What? I don't remember.
You remember that?
No.
It was like season 7 or 8 or whatever it was.
Fuck
Dude,
me.
it was great. And he's like, "Oh, it was great." Yeah, but that like, but yeah, that show kind of went off the rails a little bit.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm just waiting for a really good comedy show to come out that everyone can be hooked on. Everyone can agree to be like, all right, this was good.
Yeah.
This is a staple. But
yeah,
it is. Although like it is nice to see that comedy, in certain regards, is coming back.
yeah. Like I said, I think that's like due to like Theo Von and Andrew Schultz and
Honestly, even Chappelle, because some of his specials were funny as shit.
yeah,
And it's the whole thing. Like, listen, just this whole cancel thing is it's stupid, and it's like it enlightens people to be like, oh well, okay, maybe I won't, or maybe I'll start fighting against it, or I'll start supporting people when they are down.
yeah.
So, but yeah,
Well,
comedy and bitches, two things I love.
you need to get some sleep, buddy.
I know. You can tell I'm tired.
Yeah,
Really?
yeah.
How?
Because you're just losing it.
It's like you last week,
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
I felt so bad for you, dude.
just losing my mind. Didn't get enough sleep.
It's all right.
Brain's starting to shut down.
11 hours in that kitchen yesterday. It was.
Well, now you can vibe out for another 11.
All
No,
right,
it's all
but
going to be like 8, you know.
yeah. All right. Well, anything else you want to add, my friend?
Skibidi bop, bop, bop.
No.